Earth, the home of humanity. There are currently 5,000 satellites orbiting the planet, but there are 0 in space engineers. Can we change that? What is up, guys? My name is Andrew, and welcome to Space Busters, a series that's kind of like Mythbusters on TV, but in space engineers. Everything that you've wanted to see that's crazy, that's out of this world, anything in space engineers that you thought couldn't be possible. These are all the things that we'll do in Space Busters. It sounds like so much fun, doesn't it? But for today's episode, we're going to start with something that I've always wanted to do in this game, which is orbit the planet. I've never actually tried it, so I don't know if it's even possible, but we're going to give it a go, and we're going to find out today if it's possible or not. We've got calculations, we've got everything we're going to need to orbit the planet, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to have to do is build our craft. So let's start with a nice little platform. We're going to start with this. It's going to be a little laggy as we place our first block here. There we go. And we're going to make ourselves a nice little platform here that we can build on with creative tools, because this isn't creative. This is not a survival series. And just because it's going to bother me, let's put some pylons down like that. Okay, so we've got our platform here. Awesome. Next, we need to actually build our craft. So I'm thinking we're going to make something that looks kind of like a satellite. So let's go to G and get all of the things that we're going to need. We're going to need a cockpit. So here, let's put them all on number 2. We're going to need a cockpit. Cockpit. We're going to grab this one right here. We're going to need, I'm thinking we're going to need some gyroscopes. So gyroscopes. Awesome. We're going to need some atmospheric thrusters. Atmos. Sweet. We're going to grab this one. We're going to need some ion thrusters. Because I ain't about to mess with hydrogen thrusters. Nope, not today. We're going to need, I'm thinking we're going to use some solar panels just to make it look cool. So let's grab some of those. Solar panels. We're going to need, let's see, some power source. So solar panels aren't going to be our full power source. We're going to also need batteries. So there's battery right there. We're going to need, to charge the batteries, let's grab a small reactor. Here we are. Where is it? Where is our small, there it is, small reactor. Awesome. I don't think we're going to need any cargo containers for this one, since it's only an experimental thing. Do we need anything else? Landing gear, maybe. Just so we can start off. Landing gear. Here we go. And do we need anything else? Am I overlooking anything? I might be, but I'll get to that later, I guess, once I find out. Okay, so let's start with our landing gear. We'll put it right there. Then we're going to go to our normal blocks, and we're going to build ourselves a nice little foundation. Something like this, just to start building on. Okay, the video is not really about building the craft as much as it is about making an orbit, so I'm going to go into speed mode to build this thing. 3, 2, 1, go! Alrighty, here is our satellite. It looks so weird, but it's going to be our satellite. It's got solar panels everywhere. It's got antennas everywhere. It's got the cockpit. I've tried to hide it a little bit, but it didn't really hide very well. We only really need the cockpit to get up there and get it actually moving to control the thing. But maybe it would be better to actually use remote controls and whatchamacallits. But I want to test the orbiting, not necessarily the ability to use remote controls quite yet. So this is our craft. Okay, so now we need to do a couple of calculations to figure out a couple of things. We don't know how fast we need to go once we get up there. So, and we don't really know how high we want to go either. So we're going to do a couple of calculations to figure out how fast we need to go and what the gravity of this planet is, because I don't know exactly what it is. It says 1G, so I assume it's 9.8 meters per second squared, but I'm not 100% sure, so we're going to actually test that. Let's go to the highest point of 1G. We're going to fly up as high as we can until it starts going less than 1G. Oh, you know what? It actually occurs to me. We don't have any thrusters that point up, do we? So slowing down is not going to be easy. Okay, well let's let it slow down here. This should be fine as soon as we reach 0. So we got to reach 0, and what we're going to do is we're going to free fall for a certain amount of time. Once we know the change in velocity, which we can see in the bottom left, and we know the amount of time we were free falling, we will know how much how fast the gravity is. So I'm going to run my timer on my phone here, and I'm going to turn off dampeners, and then I'm going to turn them back on once we get low enough. So I don't know how long we want to go. Maybe 5 seconds I think will be fine. So here we go. 3, 2, well, maybe 10 seconds. Depends how low we're going. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. This is good. 50. We're at 50 meters per second. I stopped it there. 50 meters per second took us 5 seconds and 0.24. So let's do some calculations. Okay, for that take, we got the gravity to be 9.54 meters per second squared. But since we have human error, we're going to do 3 trials of this. So let's go one more time. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm going to stop it when it reaches 50. Okay, that was 50. In slow motion, I think it just hit 50 before we did it. So we got 5.15 this time. Okie dokie, last time. 3, 2, 1, go. 3, 4, and 5. That we just barely hit it. 5.15 again, so that's going to be 9.71 meters per second squared. Again, 9.71. The average of that's going to be, what is that? 9.71, 9.71, and 9.54. You know what? I think we're going to call it 9.71 just because we had that same number twice. So I think we're going to call it that out of laziness of calculations. Okay, so now we know the default gravity, which is good because that means we can calculate the gravity that we're going to be at once we go up as high as we want. So let's get as high as we want to go for our orbit. I'm thinking this is a little bit low, so let's start going up and find out when we want to kind of stop for our orbit. We're going to have to be a little bit higher than this, so probably like double this height might be good. I don't know, we can be really high or we can be really low. It depends if we want to do low Earth orbit or high Earth orbit, and I think we probably want to do a little higher than this. You know, I feel like this would look better if this one were facing the other way, like that. It'd look a little bit less one-sided. I think that looks better. Does that look better? Oh, maybe not. I don't know. It looks weird however we slice it. Okay, so that is probably a good orbiting height, 10,378. So this is where things get a little bit tricky. Now, the actual gravitational, or the actual orbital velocity equations rely on you having the radius of your orbit. And now for us... Well, I guess it's not going to be that tricky because the radius for us is going to be this number right here, the 10,378 plus the radius of the planet. Now, how big is the planet? Well, all planets in Space Engineers have a diameter of 120 kilometers, which means the radius is going to be 60,000 meters. So 60,000 plus 10,378 means that our radius of orbit is going to be 70,378 meters. Now that we have that, let's calculate our current acceleration that we're feeling. So we're only feeling 0.65 Gs. Now, since we calculated the G to be roughly 9.71 rather, we can do 9.71 times 0.65, which will give us 6.31 Gs that we're feeling right now. So I'll write that down. Alrighty, now that we have the current acceleration that we're feeling and we also have the radius of our orbit, we can use the equation V equals the square root of GR, where G is gravity and R is the radius, to determine that the velocity we should be going is 666 meters per second. I did not plan this, guys. So we got to be going 666 meters per second to roughly to orbit this planet. Alrighty, so how exactly are we going to do this? Well, I'm going to keep dampeners on at first so we don't start sinking to the ground, because I don't want to start falling as we're trying to orbit. But what we're going to do is as soon as we reach our 666 meters per second, we are going to turn off the dampeners and see if we remain in orbit around this planet. Now, this is going to be interesting because 666 meters per second is faster than you're supposed to go in Space Engineers. Space Engineers has a cap at 100 meters per second, so you're not supposed to be able to go faster than this, but I'm using the unlimited speed mod so that we can do that. All right, are you guys ready to go? So we got to keep our mouse right here on the horizon line right there, and I'm actually going to turn... I'm going to lower drastically. Let me press K, go into my gyroscopes. I'm going to drastically lower their power because I don't want to be able to... Yeah, okay, that's not bad. I want to lower even more. Because if we start going left and right, we're going to get false readings on our speed. There we go, because I don't want to go left or right. I just want to go straight, kind of. Up and down will be allowed. So we need to keep this on the horizon line as we power our thing. Okay, 666 meters per second. Are you guys ready? Attempt number 1. Here we go. 666 is the place to go, and then we're going to press Z to turn off our dampeners once we reach that. This is going to be interesting. Okay, we're not going very fast. We're not speeding up very fast, but that's because we probably don't have enough thrusters on the back there, which is probably something in a future iteration that I would want to fix. We're not going down. We're actually going up a little bit, so let me make sure that we don't go up too much. Now, we are going to see slight ups and downs because we are going to be going over mountains and stuff. Okay, we're starting to go down a little bit. Here we go. Follow the horizon line. That's all we need to do. Okay, we're at about half of what we need to be at, 300 meters per second, and we're going strong. The horizon line's changing quite a bit now. I have to move my mouse continuously down to keep up with it. You can see Earth turning underneath us, so that's a good sign, I guess. But we're still not ready at this point to completely turn off our engines, because if we do, we'll plummet straight to the ground. Now, the interesting thing about this is if we go too fast, we might escape Earth. That's the threat of going too fast. If we go too slowly, we'll crash into Earth. So which one is worse? You decide. All right, we have roughly 100 more meters per second to go. We're almost there, guys. This is interesting. Earth is going pretty fast underneath us now. Gravity's at 0.62, which means I've overshot a little bit. I've gone up too much, so we need to start going down a little bit more to keep our gravity roughly on point. And we should have to go slower if it's a lower gravity, I'm pretty sure. So we might want to go a little bit lower. But you know what? I think we're going to keep with our calculations. Trust the calculations, and we should be good. So we're at 615 now meters per second, which is very, very close to where we need to be. If we undershoot it or overshoot it a little bit, we should still be able to go around Earth a couple times before bad things happen. Okay, 645, 646, 7, 8, 9, 50. Roughly 16 more to go. Here we go. 10 more to go. And there we are. Right there. That should be the speed we need to go in order to orbit this beautiful planet multiple times. So right now we should be in orbit around this planet. Look how fast we're going. Oh my gosh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it here for a second so we can see how fast we're going and how we are orbiting the planet. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to speed things up. So I'll sit here for like, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, and I'll speed things up so you guys can see us going around the planet. And in fact, you'll see the sun as well. We're going to go to the dark side and then the light side over and over and over. So it's going to be kind of interesting. But we should now be in orbit around the planet. And satellites like this in real life are how you get like GPS and stuff like this. This is what they do. They beam down your location so they can actually see you. But, you know, in real life, there are, like 5,000 satellites that exist. So it's really interesting because they have to actually figure out where each other are so that they don't crash into each other. Because could you imagine like a second one coming the opposite side? We would obliterate each other. I'm going to leave this like this right here, and I'm going to go in fast mode so you can actually see how things are going to go. So I guess I'll look like this. All right, so you can see what it looks like we're getting ejected from the planet here. Our P gravity is only 0.06, which means we went a little bit too slowly, or we went a little bit too fast rather, and the gravity went a little bit too low for us to maintain that speed, which means we went too fast and got ejected from the planet. Not fun. Let's turn our dampeners on. Let's try it one more time. I want to get a nice good orbit around here. Alrighty, I've done my calculations this time, and this time I've actually accounted for a high and a low value. So our current gravity is 0.3, which means we're feeling roughly 2.94 meters per second squared of gravity. So our average meters per second, or our average velocity rather, that we should be going is 478 meters per second on the horizon. And then the high of that, so if the gravity shoots up to 0.32 while we're going, we should go up to 495, and if it shoots down to 0.28, we should go down to 462. So our speed should be roughly between 462 and 495, depending on what our gravity is looking like at that point, and also what our height is looking like. But we're going to try and keep that roughly 18,000. So are we ready to go here? I think we are. So 3, 2, 1, launch. Well, we've already launched, but go. Oh, and you can see our speed is going up so much faster here. We need to be really ready for this here. So what's the number? 478. So down 200. Oh, my Lord. We're going to hit that so fast. 478. Oh, below the horizon. Come on, come on. 478, 478, 478, 478. And there we are. Oh, we went a little high. However, what's our gravity looking like? If it looks like our gravity is increasing, what we'll do is we'll burn backwards a little bit to slow ourselves down. We'll still burn on the horizon. So let's give it a few seconds as we go here and figure out what our gravity is going to do. Because we need to sort of even it out. And they do this in real life as well. They tweak it a little bit because it's never perfect. Or maybe it is because they're super smart. They went to MIT. No rocket science. So, okay, we're just going around the planet. It looks like we're actually going a bit, we're actually leaving the planet a little bit. So let's actually burn a little bit lower here. We're going to try and, oh, we got to burn on the horizon. What am I doing? We got to burn down to, let's burn down to 470. Come on, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. There we go. And what I should really do here, let's do this. Let's turn off our big thrusters. So our ion thrusters, the large ion thrusters, let's turn those off. All of these bigger ones right here, we're going to turn those off. Just because if we try to burn very carefully in one direction now, we're gonna burn way too fast. Okay, so keep on the horizon. If we see that gravity start to go down, once again, we're going to burn backwards. If we see it start to go up, we're going to burn forwards. Because up means crash into the planet, down means leave Earth, pretty much. Okay, looking at our orbit, it actually looks like we're doing pretty well here. Our gravity's not going up or down. It's staying at 0.29, which is good. Our height is fluctuating as we go over these mountains that you see. So that's not really something to be counted for. So because the radius of the planet's changing as we go through these mountains, so that height's changing as well. But yeah, it looks like we're doing pretty well. Our speed's actually increasing a little bit, which I do find sort of alarming, because as it increases more and more, we're going to eventually start to escape Earth's velocity here. So we are going to have to manually tweak that down as it goes a little bit too high. I think I'm going to bring it down to, let's put it down to this. Let's put it down a little bit. Let's put it down. Yeah, let's put it down to there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go make myself a bagel because I'm hungry, and I'm going to leave this right here. And when I come back, we're going to see what happens. I think we're in a pretty good orbit at this point. Actually, it looks like we are on a set to crash into Earth, maybe, because our P gravity went up just a little bit just now. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to go make myself a bagel, and I'm going to put this on fast mode so you guys can see what happens. Here we go. Let's look at it from there. Let's look at it from there. That's a good view. All right, I'll be back, guys. Okay, I've just come back, and it actually looks like we're getting way closer to the planet here. I'm sure you guys can tell a little bit easier than I can if after watching the time lapse there, but are we getting closer? I think we are, because those clouds look way closer to me. How are we looking? We're actually going way faster than we were before. So our speed's picking up drastically, which is interesting. How's our gravity looking? 0.54. So yes, we are actually on a course to crash into the planet. So this is interesting. So if we wanted to actually save this, what we could do is we could try and what, slow ourselves down? No, speed ourselves up a little bit, but in the correct direction. So we're actually speeding up, but we're speeding up in the wrong direction. So we're speeding up kind of towards Earth instead of into space there. So if we want to save that, that's exactly what we would do. We would kind of start speeding forward towards space, trying to get our nice horizon working. But instead, I think it'll be interesting to watch us crash into Earth at this very high velocity. Look how fast we're picking up speed at this point. Here, let's tilt down a little bit so we can see. We are picking up so much speed at this point. So we have one example of a bad orbit where, oh my god, we're actually going way close to the ground. And here we go, right into the mountain. Or to the base of it, that's fine. Kabloom! There we are, we're now through the planet because we were going too fast. That's why you don't go too fast in this game, because otherwise you go straight into the planet. And now we can fly around inside Earth. Fun stuff. Ah, here lies our old satellite. The one whose orbit was never meant to be perfect. But I think that answers our question pretty well. Can you orbit in space, engineers? I think so. Space engineers does seem to follow all of the laws of physics, so as long as you have the perfect gravity starting, which I think there was some human error in that since I was using a stopwatch to calculate the gravity of this planet, but I think if you had the perfect numbers, so if you knew the exact gravity that you were at, and you knew the exact velocity, and you could update it over time. Like if you could update it every, you know, maybe every 10 seconds you update your velocity to make sure that it's going good with the current acceleration that you're feeling, I think you could, in fact, make a perfect orbit, since we did show that you can at least orbit the planet maybe once or twice without crashing. I think if I didn't walk away to make the bagel, I could have probably corrected a little bit more and made it work a little bit better. I think there's huge potential to orbiting with mods. In fact, there might already be an orbit mod out there. I didn't actually check to see if there was one. I wanted to try it out for myself, but there's huge potential here because mods can update the ship's speed over time so very easily, which means if this ship is orbiting, the mod could actually figure out, you know, how fast are you going, what's your current gravity, what's your acceleration to the planet, what is your height, what's your radius, you know, that sort of thing. And then it could calculate the speed it should be going and then update the ship's speed accordingly. So I think this is very high potential for mod content, as well as the mod could make GUIs so that the user or the player could actually see kind of the orbit that they're going to do. So they could use like a computer and try and pick the orbit that they want, and then the mod could actually go ahead and make that happen. So I think there's huge potential there if it's not already done. But it answers the question, can you orbit in this game? Yes, you can. It's just a little bit difficult. But with the question answered, that's going to be the end of this episode. So if you guys like this video, please hit the like button, put your comments and your suggestions down below, as well as anything that you want to see in future episodes of Space Busters, any myths that you want busted, any crazy things that you want to see done. Post those down in the comments and we'll get to them eventually. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next episode of Space Busters.